Hey y'all, welcome to the Back Porch Podcast. I'm Pastor Shay.
And I'm Big Red.
Let's get to it. All right, welcome everybody to Back Porch. I got a great friend here with me right now. He's a station captain at Camp Lejeune. Retired. All right, and he's the chief of the 9 Mile Fire Department, Kevin Pierce.
That's right. Good
My
to see
friend,
you.
yes
Good
sir.
To see you, friend.
It's good to see you. So did you get to see the inauguration?
I did.
How'd you like that?
I love Trump, so I liked it.
I won't look. I don't try to get too far in the woods with this stuff. But how'd you like Melania's hat?
I liked it on her. I don't think it would be good for everybody, but on her.
No, I heard a lot of people. I heard a lot of people running her down about her hat, but
Well, they run her down anyway.
It just
because they're jealous of her because she's so beautiful.
Yeah.
You know.
But I thought it looked classy. I don't think I'd want my wife wearing it, but I mean, but here's how wives are. It don't matter what you want to wear; they're gonna wear whatever they feel like they want to.
Well, if you learn, just don't say nothing.
Yeah,
Probably the best bet.
Yeah, I watched the inauguration, and I would have watched it if it went the other way. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
But there's just so much going on nowadays, and what was it? I heard them running. They were running Obama down because he sat beside Trump at the funeral.
Was talking to him and laughing with him.
And they were like, we can't believe he did that. Which I looked at it another way. You know, they just got done, and I'm not trying to support neither or, but they just got done saying that he was a Hitler and all this other mess.
You're sitting with him and laughing with him.
Then sits down beside him and kind of like, hey, buddy, how you doing?
That's right.
Look, Kevin, if I start talking about you like that, you're probably not going to sit beside me at a funeral.
No. I'm probably not.
How have you enjoyed your snow day?
I have. I like it. Not as much as I used to. I used to love it. I used to be one of those that would stay out there all day.
Yeah.
Play. You know, youngers were smaller and stuff like that, but we had a ball. But my wife got me out there, and I really enjoyed it. We run around on golf cart. Got it out there. It ain't 4-wheel drive. No. We got on the road with it, and we were good. Went over there and watched them play on the sleds and different things. I didn't get on those sleds. I'm too old for that.
Did you pull something with your golf cart? Did you pull it? Did anybody pull any sleds with their golf carts?
I didn't see nobody. Everybody had either the 4-wheeler or what they call side-by-side, stuff like that, I think. But I think mine would have pulled it. Mine was one of them gas-powered ones, you know what I'm saying?
We tried to pull a sled with a golf cart. You know, it's the first time we ever tried to do that, and that mug started smoking. So we were like, yeah, probably don't need to be doing this with the golf cart.
Is it battery or gas?
Battery. But then we just said, hey, you know what? We ain't got a 4-wheeler right now, which I'm hoping that'll change here in a little bit.
Yeah.
But we were like, let's just pull it with the truck. And we just started slinging them around with the truck. Which I didn't ride it neither, but my wife, she rode on it. Which we had a golf cart, the top of a golf cart, old golf cart. And we took it and flipped it over. That thing will slide, Kevin.
I guarantee you.
It'll slide.
It don't take much on that slick snow.
No,
I promise you that.
How about 6-7 inches is what we got?
Yeah.
This is kind of. When's the last time we had snow like this? It was in
a while.
It's like
a minute, yes sir.
I was probably like 6 or 7 when it was like that. I mean, I don't remember us having snow like this. I might be wrong though.
The last snow I remember big before this one was 89, but I know that probably ain't right.
Yeah.
But I know there was a big one at Christmas around 89.
84. That's the one I'm talking about.
Yep. That's what I mean. We've had some snow since then, but not a lot.
Yeah.
Not to amount to anything. And I think the morning when we got up, I think I got up about 6 o'clock or 6:30, something like that. And I looked at my phone, and it had stopped snowing at home, but it was still snowing in Wilmington, according to my phone. So I think they might have got a little more than we got.
Yeah.
But that's all right.
Well, the roads are still jacked up. I've seen a lot of people driving today, which I drove a little bit, but there's still spots on the road.
Oh yeah, there is.
You know, see, Big Red weren't able to come, you know, because he's with his crowd tonight, and he didn't want to be out this late, and he lives a little bit of ways.
Yeah,
but yeah, he definitely wanted to talk to you because he used to be in the fire department at Back Swamp.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Which I worked Tuesday at 9 Mile and listening to pagers and the radios, and there was wrecks all day long. But it's where people shouldn't have been out there. People that shouldn't have been out. Now there was a Gun Branch Road. I know there was 18-wheeler on that and the jackknife, and had like four cars with it in a ditch.
Oh my goodness, was everybody all right?
Yeah, I think so. They ended up closing the road off for a while, trying to get all that stuff pulled out. But there was a lot of them that was busy all day.
Well, before we get into questions that I got for you, like the the fire department, they don't, something I've noticed, they don't just go to fires, they go to stuff like that so they can help flag and stuff. And,
That's right.
And then y'all got the Jaws of Life too.
Yep.
Does every fire department, every volunteer fire department got that?
I don't, I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think so. We accumulated ours when the rescue squad closed down. But before they closed, we'd actually bought a set for our fire truck on a state grant, which they pay half and we paid half. So then after we got a set of those, then the rescue squad, the county ceased to fund it. So we got most of their equipment.
Yeah.
So now we got several sets of rescue equipment from the rescue squad, and we have our own too. So, but now we're one.
Y'all are one together.
We're one together now. So, yep.
Yeah. My family's been a big part of that. The fire department and rescue squad for a long time. I never got into it. I got into it for just a little while. I remember when I rode up one night on a wreck out here, and one of my buddies got killed. And I started wanting to be in the fire department, but like I was like 16, and I had my mind on other stuff. And this is what I thought. This is how I felt. If I ain't ready to dedicate my time to this place, I don't need to be here. I'm wasting time and holding somebody else's spot. So I got out of it and just ain't never got back into it. But you never know. I mean, I don't think I'm too old. Y'all ain't got no age limits, have you?
No.
You got any height limits?
No height limits. You fit right in. Trust me.
Yeah. Well, brother, I'm so glad you're here with us or with me.
Glad to be here.
And snow's all over everywhere. But I really want to talk about your daddy for a minute. A lot of people don't. A lot of people that watches this knows who your daddy is, and then there's some people that wouldn't know. Donald Pierce is Kevin's daddy, and he's actually Kurt's daddy as well.
That's right.
And he was a pillar of this community. I thought a lot of Donald.
Yeah.
Because when I started coming up and hanging around with Granddaddy was the vice president. No, Granddaddy was the president of the 9 Mile Hunting Club.
That's right.
And your daddy was the treasurer, right?
That's right.
Am I right about that?
That's right.
And there'd be some times where me and Granddaddy be hunting. And Granddaddy, I don't know how they got voted as the president. Because he was so far he did not want to mess with it. But like people would come up to him with problems. And he'd say, give me a little bit to think about it. And we would quit hunting and go over there and talk to Donald at the house. And he would talk over everything about what was going on with Donald. Yep. But it must have been awesome growing up with him. I know him. Where did he work at? He worked on Camp Lejeune.
Well, my daddy started the Daily News, and he worked there for years. And then he did like the print and all that stuff for the newspaper. And that's where he learned his trade at. And then your Uncle Sammy.
Mm-hmm. I was about to say that. I'd heard of
Uncle Sammy was working at the print shop on the base, and they had an opening or something, and he got Daddy to fill out for it. And Daddy was qualified because he was doing the same thing at Daily News that he had been doing on the base. Well, he put in for it, he got the job, and he worked there 33 years.
So when you say the Daily News was like newspapers that people was, he print for them and set up columns and stuff like that. He did.
Him and Noah Davis, Cooter Silence, Bobby Swinson. That's 4 that I know that worked there, and they all worked there. Daddy would go to work sometimes at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. You know what I'm saying, and do all that stuff because I can't remember if the paper was to be in the morning time or in the afternoon, but it switched later on. But one way or the other, they had to go in early and stuff like that. And but when he left there, I think he left there to make more money because they weren't paying that well, I think, and he had me and Mama and Kurt to take care of. And
did would an author would write something and then it would come to your daddy's desk and he would place it in the newspaper he would columnize it.
Yeah, pretty much.
That is cool right there.
Yep, pretty much. I think that's how it worked. But I know like on the print shop they would print up like pamphlets for the base, whatever they had for the Marines or whatever they had to, they would get work from whatever unit and they would print it up and then pass it out. They'd come back and get it, pass it out, and all that kind of good stuff.
Now I heard Norwood because I hung out with Norwood a lot for a while, and he was a good man too. I heard him talking about now they took pride in that stuff.
Oh yeah.
They'd look at it and be like, "Look what I just did."
Everybody can't do that.
No,
it's an acquired skill, and obviously they had to learn their trade, and they did. They were good at it. So
yeah.
Yeah, my daddy, he was, my daddy was a big man in stature. I mean, he was big.
I felt like a midget, which I sometimes feel like that a lot, but he was a giant of a man when I was coming up.
And a lot of people misunderstood him because he was tall and he was big, and a lot of my friends were scared of him. Me and Kurt weren't really scared of him. I mean, we knew what he could do for us if he had to, if he wanted to. But he was a gentle soul too.
Yeah.
Treated my mama good. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, like in every situation. But
yeah.
If you looked at him, you wouldn't think he was as gentle as he was, but he was. And he loved his youngins and especially his grandchildren. He loved his grandchildren, no doubt.
Yeah. I remember like when I first came up on the hunting club, like there was only a couple people, but you weren't hunting when I think you had quit or something or went to do something else. And when I started hunting, there weren't but a couple of them because I was young.
Yep.
There weren't but a couple of them that would hang out with me and make me feel like part of the crowd. And Donald was one of them. Like Donald didn't go hunting with us a lot. Like I can probably count on one hand how many times I saw Donald hunting. But like your house was home base.
Yeah.
For the 9 Mile Hunting Club, and like every time I go over there, he'd make me feel like I was part of the crowd. And
Daddy loved to cook and he loved to eat.
He loved to cook. I seen him do that.
If there was a fish fry or oyster roast for the hunting club, they always had it at Daddy's house because he had that big shelter. Mm-hmm. But he loved doing that kind of stuff more, I think, than he did actual hunting. Yeah. Now he took my brother hunting. We all went hunting. When my brother got injured, he got burned when he was young, and when he got straightened out, Daddy got him a coon dog, and we'd go coon hunting a lot.
Donald went with y'all?
Yes, sir.
Man, that's cool right there.
Yep.
Did he liked it? He liked it, or was it?
I don't know if he liked it as much as
y'all did.
Just going with Kurt and me.
Yeah.
But we had some good times. A lot of memories were made, and I think that's probably the reason why that Kurt loves it so good now. And he always has, and me too. And but Daddy. He was a big part of that. He wanted, Kurt, he was looking for, I guess, Kurt for something to do, and Kurt loved it. When we were little boys, we used to go with Mr. Odell or Danny Hobbs or somebody like that.
Oh, man, Danny Hobbs, yes, sir.
And then when Kurt got hurt, and they got the dog from Pappy Taylor. I don't know if you know Pappy Taylor. I'm sure
I've heard the name.
Now. Anyway, he worked with Daddy too at the print shop, and I think they got a dog, and Daddy got it. Her name was Ginger.
Walker?
Yep.
Would she get one up there?
She would.
Wouldn't be wrong a lot.
She wouldn't.
See, here's the thing with coon hunting. I've done a lot of coon hunting, and like, you go with people sometimes, they're like, I got a good coon dog. And a good coon dog's going to mess up every once in a while.
That's right.
But like, that's what people don't tell you. Like, I got a good dog, it'll tree.
What will it
tree? Because like, something that really burned me up was like, I'd rather go to find a tree that didn't have nothing in it than find a possum.
That's right.
I don't know what it was, but it was infringed on me that you don't want to see a possum at that tree. You'd rather see a false-mouthed dog than see a possum up there.
That's right.
Oh, man, I didn't put these on vibrate. Let's see. Well, did my one of my memories is, and you were just talking to me about it, was that there was 2 deers that got ran over one time, and I think I was 16 or 17 at the time. There was two little deers. And I think they were going to get rid of them, but your daddy took them, and we were about to have a hunting club party.
Yep.
And he took them, and y'all skinned them out and put them in a pig cooker, just like
skinned them and cleaned them out. And he took them and he sliced them into hams and stuff, and put bacon in it, and grilled them on the pig cooker, and made like barbecue deer, and it was good.
Have you ever seen anybody do that? Because I haven't.
That's the first time I'd ever seen it, and I haven't seen it since.
But I remember it was just like eating barbecue, but better.
Yeah.
Like I enjoyed that.
But that's what he was. He wasn't scared to try something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he wasn't a wasteful person. And he's like, there ain't nothing wrong with this meat. It ain't even hurt. We skinned it out, and nothing was bad. Everything was. If it would have been bad, he wouldn't have cooked it. He threw it away.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But he did. I remember that.
Man, we had it made. I'm telling you, I know hunting is. I ain't hunted in 15. Well, I'm not gonna say 15 years. I've not hunted. I've only been once in probably 7. Once or twice in 7 years, and like we had it made though. Yeah. We had a good crowd out there at the 9 Mile Hunting Club.
Yep, we did. I miss it. I miss the 9 Mile Hunting Club. I really do.
You remember when we got to City Land?
Yep.
Cause when they opened that City Land up, it was on.
It was.
And like I remember everybody else, some people might get mad about this, but like everybody else was doing a buck limit. You can only kill a 4-pointer or better. You can't kill no does. We had none of them rules.
The only rule that and some wouldn't follow was when we got to city land, there was no rifles allowed.
Yeah, that was right.
You know, then you had a few that wanted the butt
Belly
system, but yeah.
Yeah. We man, when they opened up that city land, I remember me and Granddaddy was raising some dogs, and then me and my cousin Kyle was raising some dogs, and then Daddy had gotten into it. I had like my hands on a bunch of dogs, and like just as soon as we threw the dogs out, because the first day when they opened up the city land, you weren't allowed to drive in there; you only had to walk.
That's right.
And Granddaddy was like, "Well, we'll just dump them out here at this road, and you will walk." He was just gonna stay there and wait, but I remember just as soon as we dropped the dogs off, and Granddaddy had some mediocre. They started getting good around this time, but at the point they were just mediocre dogs. But just as soon as we opened the dog box and I started walking them in there, man, they just got on it and went.
Yeah.
I was like, man, these dogs have gotten good. But what had happened was them deer were over there so long they weren't even expecting nobody to be there.
That's right. There were nobody hunting it.
No, and them dogs, first thing they smelled was a deer, and they just jumped on it and started running. And I remember I came back to the truck and Granddad was like, "What are they running?" I said, "I do not know. There's deer all in there."
That's right. And there was. There was some fine butts kid out there too. There was a lot of them that got away too, but we had some good times. I remember Stevie was little, and he used to go with me a lot. And then when he got his license, he wanted to just move around. I told him, I said, "Son, you gotta be patient."
Yeah.
And he called me one day and he was really excited. And I said, "What happened?" He said, "Dad, I killed an 8-pointer." So I was just sitting on a stump in there, and he come right to me, and I shot and killed him. That's good. And then we was hunting together one day, and he shot 2 bucks at the same 2 6-pointers.
Where at?
At the fish camp.
Okay.
They on the side of the fish camp on the 5-mile side. They come up on that hill, and he shot both of them. Graveyard dead, and one fell in the creek on this side, and one fell down the hill on the other side. But he got them both, little 6-pointers at the same time.
I never killed a great big buck.
Yeah.
I really like running dogs. I like to hear my dogs running.
Yep, no doubt.
And like if there was a good spot, I'd turn to somebody else. I'd be like, go over there. You'll probably get that.
Yeah.
Which that's how Granddaddy hunted too. Granddaddy didn't kill a bunch of big bucks. He just liked being out there. I think it's just a group, being in a group.
To me, that's the biggest part of hunting. Just for me, is just being with people that you like, and the people have the same likes that you have. And most of them is your family. Most of them is your good friends or your kinfolk. And I just enjoy it. Some people take it too serious, you know, and they give some hunters a bad name because of that. I mean, driving through people's yards or shooting across people's yards. I'm not going to do that. And I don't condone it. I teach my children and grandchildren not to do that.
Well, sometimes like when we were hunting, we would throw out on the hunting club. We would throw our dogs out on the hunting club. Now, if they ever ventured out of the hunting club and got on somebody's land, we would try to get them out as soon as possible. And you might hear some people running their mouth about that.
Oh, yeah.
And be like, "I'm sorry," you know. But nowadays, I've heard people talking, which I ain't saying this is everybody, but these people just pull right up in somebody's yard and throw out behind their house.
That's right.
And then they'll say something like, "Well, my dogs don't know that this is posted." Yo, but you do.
If you turn them out there, then it's your, I mean, dog can't read.
No.
If he gets on somebody's property, and most people are good about it. They don't, they'll catch your dogs for you or whatever, or But if you get in there and they say something to you and you say something back, you know what I'm saying? You ain't got to do that.
Yeah.
Just do the Christian thing. And,
hey,
I'm sorry, man.
That's right.
I don't mean to get on your property or whatever, but.
Well, I never really felt like. Now I'm gonna tell you, I coon hunted for a while, and like coon hunting, you kind of sketchy looking the whole time because you're hunting at nighttime.
And with a light on your head?
Yeah, with a light on your head. And like you're in them woods and like you find another path and you come out in somebody's backyard and they see you. There's been a couple times where I stumbled off in somebody's yard and they'd be like, "What are you doing out here?" Man, I'm trying to get out of here.
That's right.
But I understand it looks sketchy. Coon hunting was fun though. I enjoy coon hunting better than I did deer hunting.
I think what hurt the coon hunting so bad, I don't know if I know you remember Fran and Bertha.
The hurricanes
when they came through.
Underbrush.
They made a lot of trees down and just different things, and pretty much a lot of people I know got out of it then because it was just too hard to get around.
Yeah. And something else that's helped everybody now with hunting is the GPS systems.
Oh yeah.
When I got out of it, we still had the beep like the icon.
Oh yeah.
But now they got a computer screen in their truck, and they're like, the dog's crossing the creek right here.
Yep.
And like it's sped up hunting a lot.
Oh, it has.
Like when we at the end of the day, deer hunting. Now you might have been different. I don't think you were. If you didn't find your dogs, you stayed out there and hollered and screamed all night long trying to find them.
Yep.
But now they can just flip that screen, and be like, I see where it's at, and just go get them and go home.
That's right.
There would have been nights that me and Granddad would look all night long. I mean, till like 1 or 2, which I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But then when we finally get home, Grandma Ruth would be there, and she said, somebody called the house at lunchtime, and they've got one of your dogs tied up at their house. That would be the dog that we were looking for.
That's right.
I was like, man.
Yeah, GPS have made it a lot simpler. I'm telling you, in a lot of ways.
Well, I haven't heard the old guys used to say, E.T. phone home.
Yeah.
E.T. phone home, because they'll have a dog collar. That's the last line of defense for hunting back in them days. But I heard so many, like Lester Ford told me, if you pee on a jacket and let that dog sleep in it, that if you're still looking for your dog at nighttime, you throw that jacket out and they'll find that jacket.
That's right.
I never saw that work, but I ain't saying it don't work.
Well, we never peed on the jacket, but we'd leave one there. Like especially a coon dog, and lay it on the ground right there by where you turned out. And a lot of times the next morning you come back, the dog will be right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
That dog will smell his way back the way he went and track back to that jacket or blanket or coat, whatever it was.
I didn't know we were going to be talking about hunting, but you think how much longer do you think North Carolina? Because we're like the only state that runs deer dogs.
I don't know, man. I think it's going away. But I hope it never does. Cause I got some grand youngins coming up. I got a granddaughter that's 12 years old. She loves it. And then I got my granddaughter that's 5. She'll go, but I don't know if she really loves it.
Don't know if she loves it. She just want to hang out with Granddaddy.
A grandson that's 3, he'll be 4 in April. He goes with his daddy, but I don't know if he's old enough to really know whether he likes it or not either. But Aubrey, my granddaughter, my oldest one, she loves it. And she's killed deer.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying?
With a shotgun or running or in a still head?
Yep. Running
dogs. Oh, man.
Yep.
Well, I don't like... I know Dynamite don't have a hunting club no more, but I know Springfield's still hunting because they're right here behind my house.
Yep. I was a member of Springfield, and when they lost the other part on the other side of Baxter Road, we had a meeting, and we got out. A lot of us got in at the same time. It was me and my brother, and Stevie, my son, and Kip. There was a bunch of us that got out because they only had that one spot, and they didn't want to have 30 members in that one little spot. And I understand it, but I really enjoyed hunting with Springfield, Mr. Troy and that crowd and Ricky Watkins. They accepted us in. Good people, man, in my opinion, and we had a good time. But things changed,
Yeah.
But
well, before we move on, because I didn't know we were going to be talking about hunting, but we got to talk. We were talking about hunting. Kurt used to have a dog. I've never heard of this before, but Kurt used to have a dog when I was hunting that was half Walker, half Beagle, half Bulldog. You remember that dog?
Yep.
The Bulldog female that he had?
Yep.
Cause I killed my first deer being ran by that dog.
Yep.
That dog was nothing but the truth. And I know that everybody wants these long, lanky walkers, and I love a long, lanky walker. But that little Bulldog Beagle.
It was tough, now I'm going to tell you that. And he got some good puppies off that dog. And the same like, Kurt's always had good dogs, though.
Yeah, he's always had them.
I think, though, the owner has a lot to do with that. I think if you take time with them and take them and train them, and you can have good dogs. If you just put them in a pen and keep them shut up and then expect them to run deer the first time you turn them out, it ain't gonna happen.
Ain't gonna happen. You got to work them.
And then if you get upset about it, you can have the best stock in the world. That don't mean nothing. You got to take them, and in my opinion, you got to take them and let them learn. That's how they get better. You
can kind of tell an owner by the hunting dogs that they got if they're really deer hunters. Yeah. But I remember the first deer I killed a cow horn. So I didn't actually kill it, but I shot it and knocked his leg off, and I think Clayton Cruz ended up killing it. But that bulldog came through there running and squalling. I said, Granddad, I think I missed it. And Granddad was getting all ill with me. He's like, you can't, just like what you were saying. He said, you can't stay still long enough to kill it. You can even kill one. I got to see where you can kill one. And we got to riding around there, and James Floyd came on the radio, and I heard him say, Charlie, don't be yelling at that boy. He hit this deer. I'm running right beside it. His legs flopping like a helicopter. He's hit it. And then Clayton ended up. But when I got out there, that bulldog was right there, son. Right. And like that ain't the only time I seen that bulldog running. But
she was a good dog.
She was. And I didn't know that he had a bunch of puppies off of her though.
Oh yeah, he did. Definitely did.
Well, I want to talk to you a little bit about the fire department, because you are the chief of 9 Mile Volunteer Fire Department.
That's right.
And who was the chief before you got there?
My daddy.
Well, he was the chief.
Yeah.
All on up till the end.
I took over chief. They voted me in 2017, and I've been the chief since. But Daddy was the chief for about 25 years.
Yeah.
I think he was chief all that time, but like 2 years. But he stayed chief like almost 25 years.
So when you were growing up, you just automatically knew you wanted to be in the fire department. Is that something that you would always wanted to do, or?
Well, yeah, sort of. You know, where my house sits now, that my daddy's garage used to be right there.
Yeah.
And before they built the fire department, that's where the fire trucks were housed at, in my daddy's garage. We lived right there in a little trailer in the front yard of that. Where my house sits now, there used to be a trailer there, and behind it was a garage. It was had 2-stall garage, and we had 2 trucks in there. I think it was a 48 Ford and a 42 Diamond T. I think it was a 42 Diamond T. That was our first 2 fire trucks. And the way they did it back then, they didn't even have a siren or pagers, but you would call a certain number and it would ring at certain people's houses.
Really?
Yep.
Well, about what year was that?
The fire department was formed in 74.
So somebody's house caught on fire. They would call a certain number, which I guess would be in the
Yep.
the phone book.
Yep. Well,
Just something the community knew.
I can't remember what. It weren't. I don't think it was 911 because 911 weren't established in. I can't remember what number they called. Anyway, I think it was Mr. Lloyd Williams, my mom and daddy, Granddaddy George, and it might have been JD, my uncle, and I want to say might have been Elwood English. I'm not sure, but I know that's how it worked. And they did put a siren up in the field between my mom and daddy's house and my granddaddy George's house. So what would happen is, if one of those got the call, they would go there and put the siren on.
I got you.
And
so that was the pager.
That was when everybody come to realize there's a fire.
Yeah.
And it weren't one like we ended up with in later years, one that went around, you could hear it, then you wouldn't hear it, and it'd come back and hear it again.
Yeah.
This one was just one siren, and it just made a roar the whole time.
Yeah.
And I mean, there was many times Daddy said, "Go cut the siren on."
Yeah.
And I'd run through the field over there and flip it on.
But that was cool though, wasn't it?
Yep. He said, "Leave it on for 3 minutes," and then and my grandparents, my granddaddy George and grandma Macy donated the land for the fire department to be on, so it was always in my family. And then when I got 15, I joined. 1981. Me and Kip joined the fire department as junior members. We're the first 2 junior members ever joined, and we've both been in it since then.
This is like a family legacy for you.
Well, it's been going on 44 years. This I think it's October or November this year. Will be 44 years for me and Kip. That's a long time. That's more years than most people are old. That I know. Anyway,
I just turned 40 a little while ago.
So I was on the fire department before you was born.
Yeah. Well, hold on now. The siren. Now I think Fountain Town siren still works.
Yeah, there ain't a lot of them anymore.
There ain't a lot of them.
Yep.
But you hear some at 12 o'clock. They still ring them off every once in a while. Ours is broke, and like they don't even make the pieces for it no more.
Michael J.D. used to work on them. He was like contracting with the county, and he would go around and fix the sirens. And then it got to the point where it was pagers come in, different things now. They got like active 911,
which pagers was cool. I mean they needed to get that.
But see now the pagers are pretty much phasing out a little bit, and now it's like cell phones.
Really?
You can get like an active 911 app on your phone, and it'll alarm. It'll set it off when you get a call. Your cell phone will go off.
So the guys ain't walking around with pagers. No.
Some people. I still carry my pager and my cell phone. So
I got you.
If you miss one, you get the other one.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's a lapse, maybe a minute or so in between, or sometimes they're like simultaneously. They'll go off, but it's just more ways to get up with people.
Now, when I did it for a little while, Donald gave me my pager, and it was the black one. They had a black one and they had a red one. Donald gave me a black one. He's like, "Here's yours." And he's like, "Take care of it. Don't talk on it." And like when I was there for like a couple months, And like you didn't want to talk on that thing.
Yeah.
But I remember one of our guys talked on it one day, and I can't remember who I was with, but they were like, "Oh, that did get that idiot off of there," because everybody's listening to that, ain't they?
Well, and what the pager was the radio.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, the radio, when you key up, it's being taped at Onslow County. So they could go back and play it.
Yeah.
There's been some things said on there that shouldn't have been said, probably. But sometimes in the heat of the moment, how when people get really excited or really scared or really nervous, some things that come out that shouldn't come out.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some people you don't really want on the radio, but.
Well, I appreciate what y'all do. I've always thought it was a pretty cool profession, and I think that the profession that I took, which is line work, it goes kind of hand in hand with the fire department, because I've noticed, like when I go on a storm call, I'm working with the fire department. I mean, them guys are there. They're showing up. They're doing their thing,
well, the fire department, man, especially a volunteer organization like 9 Mile, most of the people that's in it grew up out here. Not all. Now we have some boys from different areas now that's come and joined.
I was about to say, I see a bunch of new looking people sometimes.
And it ain't. We don't have that many. I can remember every year, I'll say you average like eight new members. Young boys would come on, and out of them 8, you might keep half of them after it wore off. The new wore off, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then, so the 8, you might have 4 that stayed.
Yeah.
Now, if you get 1 a year, you're lucky.
Yeah.
It's just, I guess I don't know if it's what they teach them in school. Nobody wants to volunteer no more. They don't think it's a waste of time. They think you should get paid for it. I'm pretty sure, but and it may come to that. But right now,
how close you think? Now this ain't like you're swearing to it, but how many more years you reckon it'll take before they're gonna have to start paying people?
Well, right now Onslow County is paying people. Like right now during the week, Kurt's at Back Swamp. Myself and Kit Williford and Alex Norris is at 9 Mile. I work 20, Kit works 20, Alex works 20. So that's 60 hours a week that they're putting at 9 Mile. Well, we had a full-time medic that was 40 hours a week, but he left, and they're trying to hire somebody else to take his place. So you're looking at 60, that's 100 hours a week of somebody paid being there. And it makes a difference because, you can have a fire call at 8 o'clock in the morning when everybody's at work. 6 o'clock in the morning when everybody's either going to work. So, I mean, sometimes you need that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But it's not for everybody. The volunteer fire department is not for everybody. But I always said you got to try and see if it's for you. Yeah. If you...
the Bible says test the spirits.
Well, if you're just one of those that watch the fire trucks go by every time, it's like, hey, I wonder what them boys is up to, what they doing. Only way to find out is come join and see. Yeah. Yeah. You may love it. You may not. But you got to... But if you don't never try it, and I do it because my family was in it big time, but then I realized that, hey, I got pride in my community. I got pride in my fire department, or our fire department in our community. But somebody's got to do it. Yeah. And there's some that can't, and there's some that won't. Yeah. But
some people can't handle the scenery.
Well, and that's what I was getting ready to say. A lot of people are not able to handle the situations that they get in. I mean, you go to Rex, see somebody you knew, maybe they didn't make it, or you see somebody messed up that you knew, and little ones. Yeah. House fires, people lose everything they got. See a lot of bad stuff, and over the years, we've seen a lot of stuff and I did it paid too for over 20 years. Yeah. Until I retired, but.
So you got 9 Mile Volunteer Fire Department, and you got Camp Lejeune. Which one kept you on your toes the most? Was there a lot going on in Camp Lejeune? A lot more than what we get here? Well, the big difference is, in my opinion, is just people, because like at Lejeune, you have plenty of help. If you actually had a structure fire there, you had everybody there was paid. They were there 24 hours at a time. There weren't nobody going home until it was done. Yeah. So, but out here in the volunteers, there's a chance you could show up with 3 or 4 people, and that person that's got a house burning don't care if you got 20 people there or 2 or 3 there. They just want their house fire put out. They want their belongings saved, and especially if anyone's trapped in the house or whatever, they want to make sure that they get them out. But we got some boys now, some young boys that's really starting to take over as far as training and stuff, and they're doing a really good job. And because my career is winding down. Is it? Well, as far as firefighting, I'll be 60 in a year. I'll be 59 in May, so I'll be 60
just over a year and a few months, and I can't do the things I used to do. I still can do it if I got to.
If you got to,
but I hope there's going to be somebody there that I don't have to do it as much.
Oh yeah,
and it's changing.
How many people do we got on the 9 Mile Fire Department?
Roughly 30.
30. Is there a like a cutoff? Like we've got too many, don't need no more. Is there a number that's all we're shooting for? Or?
Seems like we always stay around that.
Around 30.
But that's not. It's not. It's not a set number. I mean, if 5 people come next Tuesday night want to join the fire department and they live in our district, pretty much, you know what I'm saying, and they're in good standing.
Yeah. What's something that, like, if somebody showed up and wanted to be on the volunteer fire department, what is something where y'all would, driver's license is one thing. You got to have driver's license involved. But what are some things that y'all say to the man we can't?
Well, what we would do an application. One week, and then we would take the application and which now there's a required background check that has to be done. That person would have to go in their own time to the sheriff department, get fingerprinted, and they run a background check. That's something that's been in effect about 2 or 3 years. Don't cost them nothing, but they got to do that. And what it was set up for was to detect anybody that's being charged with arson in the past. They wouldn't let them be on the fire department. Yeah. So it may come back with something else. Do
you find that a lot with people, like doing stuff like that?
Well, we haven't had anyone that came back showing that, but I understand there's some departments that have. Yeah. Now we have done background checks on people that came back and showed stuff that wouldn't be conducive with being on the fire department, and because there was young people around and stuff like that, and the officer said no, you can't be on the fire department because of that.
Well, I know in this community, like, if somebody wanted to be a firefighter for a career, they would go over there and they would do all that they could do at the volunteer fire department, and then eventually they'd get so much experience that when Camp Lejeune would hire, they would put them on over there. So I mean, that was a footway into a really good job.
We've had probably around 15 people that I know of that's started volunteer that's turned into a full-time career for them, either at Jacksonville or mainly Camp Lejeune or Jacksonville.
At one time, I was like, is there anybody else at the Camp Lejeune Fire Department that ain't from 9 Mile? Like, there might be 1 or 2, but there was a bunch of them over there.
I know one time there was 9 or 10 of us at the same time that all started at 9 Mile. And there's people that work there now that didn't even live in 9 Mile community that was on 9 Mile Fire Department. Yeah. At one time or another. Yeah. And there still is. I think there's 2 or 3 now that live out here that's on the fire department at Camp Lejeune. And there's same with Jacksonville. I think there's 2 or 3 from out here that's born out here. They don't live out here no more, but we're born out here. So firefighting is a good career. I mean, you can make a good career.
You might not know this, but my brother, not my biological brother, but we've always called each other brothers, Ed Cruz, because we were born on the same day. And when we first met each other, we just hit it off. Now he's moved up the ladder up there, hasn't he? At the volleyball. What title was he hold?
He was assistant chief for years and years and years. But you remember, it was a couple of years ago, he got in that bad wreck. And they almost took him out of here. Yes. And, I think it was last year maybe, or a year before. I don't remember exactly when. He came to us and said, "Hey, I need to step back a little bit." Plus, he got married, and he's got a baby, and he's got another young in there. So his I think his priorities changed a little bit, which is good. You know what I'm saying? You got family to take care of. But I think the main thing was probably the vehicle wreck. Put him in a situation.
So, now, at one time, if Ed was not hanging out with us,
he was at the firehouse.
He was at the fire department. No doubt. And I don't know what he was doing, so maybe hanging out waiting for his pager golf, or maybe be studying some stuff. But
he was and still is a very dedicated member. Yeah. And we got several. This past year, 2024, in July or August, we had our 50-year anniversary. And we went through every record we could find of everybody who had ever been on the fire department, and we made a list of names. And I want to say between 550 and 600 names.
Good night.
Of people that had been on the fire department.
Since when?
Since 1974.
Man, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And we got them all tightened up, and you were on there.
Yeah.
Your granddad Charlie's on there. I mean, there's just so many people that, that were on there. But the fire department's changed so much since it started. I mean, just everything. But the world has too.
Yeah, it's a lot changed.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, even you got to have CDLs to drive a fire truck now, don't you?
Mm-mm.
You still don't have to have CDLs? How in the world is that?
Most people, like a Class B license.
Yeah.
Class B license will get you. Now, I don't know about the pay departments anymore, but at Camp Lejeune, we were Class B.
Mm.
You know. And everybody don't drive a fire truck that's on the fire department.
Yeah.
First of all, you got to have, like I say, good standing. You got to have a good driver's license, and you got to have that. But everybody don't. In order to drive a fire truck at 9 Mile, you got to be able to operate it. Everything.
That's good.
You got to do the
That's
pump.
good.
You got to do whatever that truck requires you to do. You got to be able to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Let me get this straight up. When I got in line work, we take a line truck with a trailer, and you had to have CDLs to drive that. And I don't really know what the difference is between them fire trucks, which it must just be something I'm missing. I don't know, but you would think that they would have to have Class A CDLs, wouldn't you?
Well, I think.
Am I looking at this wrong?
It might be something with emergency vehicles. Yes, because like especially on the volunteer side, of getting people to actually that can drive them. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because you don't want to have a situation where you got nobody that can drive it.
Yeah.
And can't get it to the scene, and now I think my understanding now is like a CDL, man. It's like a 200-hour course.
Oh man.
It ain't nothing like it used to be.
Yeah, you just took the book home and studied it.
It's major now.
Yeah.
It's major. 200 hours, I think, is what it is. But
yeah.
And you can't get anybody. I wouldn't do it. A 200-hour course to drive a fire truck.
You got to go to college now to get your CDLs, don't you?
Pretty much. Yep. It ain't no joke now. But
we do a lineman. Well, we don't, but like they've started doing a lineman school over there at Coastal Community College, and we go over there like and do the hotline to show the students that this is what happens. Like they'll read it in a book and they're like, I'm ready to go. But we'll bring that truck, that demo truck out there and show them what it looks like if it goes phase to ground. We'll show them the arc and we'll put a hot dog on it and put a hole in the glove and like get it grounded and show them the hot dog and like it opens up their eyes. And for the last couple of times we've done it, which is maybe once every 3 months, every time we do it, they get the fire department over there too. The guys that's training to be fire department, they'll get them over there and they'll watch it too. And we do a part in that demo for the fire department with their fire boots, because a lot of people get them boots on there like they're rubber. We're good, but they're not. Yeah. You know they're not good, because like if you got one little pinprick in it and you're stepping on some hot primary or something, them boots ain't gonna help. That's right. But I enjoy going over there and watching that. But when I first got in line work, we didn't have a college, and I'm pretty sure fire department didn't have a school. It was all experience. Yeah,
it's been an evolution. I mean, like Coastal now has a very good program.
They do.
And them boys go there, girls, whoever. And I don't know how many weeks it is, but it depends on. I know they have a daytime class, and then they have like a nighttime academy or whatever. And nighttime will be less hours a night, but it would run longer. Mm-hmm. The daytime will be like 8 to 5 or whatever. They will get done quicker, but they get all the firefighting requirements, like to get on at the city or Camp Lejeune or wherever they want to go. It's really a good class, really a good thing that Coastal's done.
Hey, so you've sat in on them a little bit, ain't you?
Well, we've had several people that's completed those classes and got right on at Camp Lejeune, stuff like that. You know, rather than going and taking years and years and years to get certifications or whatever you need, they go there for like 3 to 6 months, whatever it is, and when they get done with that, they're certified. Yeah, and they can do. It
seems like the same thing's going on with line work.
Oh, it is. I'm sure.
Because like you used to, like if you wanted to get into line work, all you had to do was call somebody, you know, or go meet them on the road somewhere, and be like, look, I'm on the job. They're like, are you worth anything? That'd be the first question. And who's gonna tell the truth on that? Yeah. No, I'm not really worth it. Well, don't come. But like, and then you got to watch them for about a week or two and see if they're really worth anything, if they got a work ethic, and then like in a month or so, if they're progressing, you know, that's how you got in. That's how you used to do line work. Well, now you go to that school. And they'll give you some knowledge. They'll teach you how to climb. Some of these schools, which I don't think Coastal does, but some of these schools that they go to supply all the tools. Which Kevin, man, look, them line working tools are expensive.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
You got climbing belt, climbing hooks, you got all the hand tools and everything. And after you get out of that school, you got all that.
Yeah.
So I see pros and cons with it. I enjoyed how I came up doing line work though, because I got on the job training, got cussed out a few times. I made like errors sometimes, and like this is what happens if I do that again.
Yep.
You know, but
with firefighting and that kind of work is they're both dangerous, and you both can you can make mistakes and not go home. Mm-hmm. And so you got to have enough knowledge and enough experience about you to understand when you can go in or when you can what you can touch, what you can't touch. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, we come on scenes where cars have hit poles and knocked light lines down, and you know what I'm saying. You just can't go there and grab a light line. If you do, that might be the last thing you ever do.
Yeah.
So you got to have enough common sense and knowledge about you to.
One of the coolest things I think that's happened to line work, which you're going to know what I'm talking about, is when you go on a storm or a trouble call like that, you don't mess with nothing until you test, flag, tag, and ground.
That's right.
And that's kind of like that's isolated you from anything of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But here's the problem sometimes. Sometimes we'll come on these scenes and people will be like, well, look, I'm just going to flip this off the truck or something like that. And you'll be like, no. Sometimes people don't really understand. They think just because it's broke and it's laying in the road, it's dead. Well, it don't work like that.
I've been on calls where the cable line's been down. You know, but I told the boys, I said, that's charter cable, but you don't know what that wire's touching.
That's right.
Down the road, it might be touching something else.
Yeah.
And if you touch it, that can be it for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a good practice.
We got equipment on the fire truck. It's called hot sticks.
Yeah.
And we use them around live stuff just to see if it's live or not. But we still don't.
You don't mess with it.
We don't mess with it.
Yeah.
We'll check it maybe to see, but we're instructed not to touch it.
Yeah.
Not Jones Onslow or Duke Energy, whoever. That's their responsibility.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Well, it might not be too late for me, man. I might. Ever since I got into the ministry, I kind of got my hands full right now.
Yeah, I know that.
I would love to be over there because it sounds just like the hunting club with y'all now.
Yeah.
You know, just a bunch of cool guys.
Yeah.
But so like we were talking about getting into it for a career. There's some people that wants to get in the fire department and make the money.
Right.
And you all around America, there's people doing jobs right now that they don't really like and they don't really care for. They just know that they're making the money. Can you tell the difference, you know, in your profession? Can you tell the difference when somebody is just doing it for the money or vice versa? They're doing it because it's in their heart and they really want to do it. Can you tell the difference in them two kinds of people?
Certainly.
Well,
now, I know people, and I've been there, that got paid to do it and are volunteers or whatever. And I got, and some people that when they're on a volunteer department, they might have got paid to do it. Now they're on a volunteer department, you never see them anymore. So what does that lead you to believe? Well, maybe they just don't want to do it no more, or since they ain't getting paid to do it no more, they ain't do it. But when I said 30 members earlier, that's how many people's on our roll.
Yeah.
Now
I know what you about.
Probably if we got 10 people that's dedicated, we're blessed to have those 10. And most of the time, it's under that. That's going to come to every call that they possibly can.
Yeah.
You know, even a lot of our calls may not be in 9 Mile District. It may be like the other night we went to Hall's Run. You know, they had a structure fire there, a house burned up, and we went there and it was freezing cold.
Yeah.
We had 5 people.
Yeah.
You know, enough to take 2 trucks, and we did, and we stayed there 3 or 4 hours. And
Hall's Run was there too.
Hall's Run, Verona, Southwest.
So y'all probably had about like 15 people out there?
Maybe.
Yeah.
And they weren't no paid members there. They weren't no Jacksonville, Captain Juno, them were there. It was all.
It's got to be right here to be doing something like it. It's just like coon hunting.
Yeah.
There ain't nobody going to go coon hunting unless they really want to go coon hunting.
Right. And they nobody going to get up 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
With it being 20 degrees outside.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's sort of bad to lay there and that thing go off and you don't know what the situation is. Yeah. If you hear it, you got it in your heart to try to help, you got to go try to help, because if it was my house and I weren't around and my family was in there or something like that, I'd want everybody to try to come help my family as much as possible. And you don't ever know when it's going to be you or your family.
You don't know. You don't know.
And now with the fire department, since we combined with the rescue squad 4 or 5 years ago, now we run EMS calls also. And we got fewer people that do that. You have to be an EMT to run the calls. But we don't run every call. We just run like the more serious, like CPR in progress or difficulty breathing, stuff like that. We don't go to a sprained ankle. We don't go to a stomach ache, stuff like that. And we don't transport nobody. So if we come to your house, we're going to just do the best we can until EMS gets there. And if you go to the hospital, they'll take you. We don't take nobody to the hospital.
Look, man, I've met some good people that works for the EMS. I mean, like, they'll show up. Something different between what me and you do and what they do is like they got to go up into people's houses. They got to go up in and see how they're living and like that they've been. I've heard a bunch of EMS people that have went into some shady situations and have to show care for them, thinking that their life is threatened.
That's right.
But they got to show care for that person just like they would if it was a rosy day.
That's right.
You know.
They see a lot, and they have to deal with a lot too. That's for sure. I
kind of like being on the outside. Like, I don't know. That's just me. But some people, that's right up their alley.
Yeah. Some people love it.
Yes, it's a ministry. Yeah. I mean, I don't think everybody looks at it that way, but I do. If you're helping somebody, whether you're getting paid or not, if you're helping somebody and you love what you're doing because you're helping them, I think that's a ministry. You know, it is. To a certain degree. Right. But you said something about the fire department just because you said 30. That don't mean that we find that at church a lot. You can have all kinds of people
that's everywhere. Ain't
it? Yeah, you can have all kinds of people on the church list. But like when it comes down to it, who's going to show up? That's where you find the backbone.
Well, I keep telling the members there that hey, we are a volunteer department, and don't ever lose sight of that. You know, like some people get upset. Well, this person ain't never here, or this person ain't never here, or this person ain't here. Come when you can. Do what you can when you can. You know, that's the way I look at it, and that's why I try to always distinguish between the volunteer department and the paid department. Keep them separate. You know, one day
it's hard to keep that frame of mind.
And it may come to that one day. It may come to where it's all paid, and I don't know if what this. I mean, there's some counties that don't really have a lot of volunteers. Everything's paid, but Oslo County's still majority paid. They got Jacksonville, they got Camp Lejeune, and the county has a station at Bear Creek, and they have one at Freedom Way. And that's it. Everything else is volunteer.
I'm glad to hear you say what you just said, Kevin, because young people. I think young people, they'll get stressed out and been out of shape sometimes. They'll be like, I wonder if Kevin's going to try to get rid of me because I didn't show up on his fight. But that shows leadership, what you just said right there.
If you get removed from our roster, trust me, it's something that you did. I just say not showing up or just whatever, you know what I'm saying? Most time that's what it is. Most time people they get busy in their daily lives and they just lose interest, and the whole year will go by and you're like, is it, there's a lot of benefits to being in volunteers. We have insurance, we have life insurance, accidental death, all kinds of stuff, and we pay that for these people. And is it fair to pay insurance for somebody who doesn't show up at all?
Yeah, well,
and then you got somebody that's there 3 or 4 times a week, dedicating their time. You know what I'm saying?
That's called righteous judgment. Yeah. I mean, you got to have righteous judgment. It can't be a pie for everybody.
That's right.
I see what you're saying, but I did hear that there's a retirement with a volunteer because
there is. I'm getting it.
I worked with for a long time. I worked with Casey Ford. Me and him worked at the DOT together for a long time.
You just got a raise too, $5 a month.
Really? Well, hey man, things are looking up.
And I put this out there as a plug for the volunteers. What we've always done for years, even before I was chief, my daddy was chief then. You had to pay in 20 years, and when you get 55, you can start drawing it. But it's only good for the firefighter. Say if you joined, you paid in 20 years, you want to start drawing it, and you drew for a year, and something happened to you, and you passed away, then your wife couldn't get that money.
Okay.
It's only for the firefighter.
Yeah.
But I started drawing mine when I turned 55. I'll be 59 in May, so it's been almost 4 years. But it was $170 a month. Now it's going to $175. So, I mean, a lot of money.
Hey, but everything helps.
And what I was trying to get to, and I forgot, is used to, when Daddy first started doing it, you had to pay every year. It was $60 a year. Well, the fire department said, look, we'll pick up, you pay the first year, we'll pick up the next 19 years for you, as long as you keep your 36 hours required training up to date every year. That was a way to make sure that they got the required training, and then you would pay their $60. Well, now it's going up to $120 a year. But the thing about it, the fire department still pay that for you if you get your 36 hours.
Okay, so I might have this wrong, but so if Joe went to work, wanted to be in the volunteer fire department, and he started doing good, he would have to pay the first year $120.
Right.
But then the next year, as long as he keeps getting his 36 hours in, they gonna pay that 124.
Yeah.
And then he's got to put in 20 years.
Yeah.
And then he'll get
175. So for $120 a one-time thing, and when he got 55, he'll draw 100. If he had 20 years paid up, $175 a month.
That's cool.
So after 1 month, he'll get your money back.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, if you start, say you work at, stay at 9 Mile 10 years, and then you leave or move away in North Carolina, somewhere, then you could, another department, you could start right back. Because that money would stay there.
Yeah.
And then you can get right back in it and finish your 10 years out, and then you would have a
Man,
check.
look, I was up north and I was talking to some of them guys. Like I think it was Newark. I was in Newark on Storm, and I was talking to some of the volunteer guys over there, and they said that their mess was union.
Yeah.
Like their volunteer fire department was union. I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah.
But
Now there is some states that had been doing this, what they call a pension fund. That's what North Carolina pension fund for the volunteers and rescue, whatever. But they've been doing it a lot longer. I think South Carolina is like $300 a month.
yeah,
And I don't know if North Carolina's ever getting to that. Probably not. I don't know how they fund theirs or what. But I mean, $175 a month. I think when I remember some of them started like my daddy, I think it was like $120 or $125 a month. And but then it went up to 170, and now it's 175. So
well, working on Camp Lejeune with the fire department. Well, I got some cousins that work out there, and they talk like the coolest thing is y'all got to stay there like 24 hours on and 24 hours off.
Yeah.
And like y'all end up cooking for each other and stuff like that. And one of my cousins told me that that was the best part, is being able to eat with everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And
well, you got some that do that, and you got some that do their own thing.
yeah.
But
Why would you want? I mean, I don't know. Like if I was over there, I wouldn't want to do my own thing.
Well, I think it's just the way people are, their personalities.
Yeah.
Some people like to be involved and hang around together, and some people love to cook, and some don't. And
They
some
just go to
people can
McDonald's.
cook.
Yeah. I bet you've ate some good food over there, though.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. I got some good friends that that I miss seeing. You know what I'm saying? That they're still there. I don't miss going there every day, or every other day. When I was there the last several years, they had a bunch of overtime because it was short of people. Couldn't get, they wouldn't hire nobody. And you might, if you went in one day, 24, then the next day was your off day, you'd have to stay for mandatory. And the next day was already your day back on, so that'd be 72 hours. If we're not going home. So if you went there Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, you'd come home on Thursday morning.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying? So that was a lot of it, for my...
But they wouldn't call you on your off day unless something was really bad.
Well, they would call the next in line.
Yeah.
And if you answered the phone,
you gone.
You come to work. unless you had a good reason, or unless you could sweet talk that chief and say, "Look, man, I can't come today. I'm out of town."
Yeah. The one thing that always popped up when we went on Storm is like people will be going to the general foreman after about 3 weeks. They'll be like, "Me and my wife has already scheduled a vacation, and we've already paid the money."
That's
and stuff like that. And the GF be looking at them like, "All right, just go on home. You've lied to me enough."
That's right. And I ain't saying that didn't happen out there, but I'm sure it did. But it was a good job, and I tell anybody, man, that take a chance on something like that, and I think you'll be satisfied. Your family can live. Only thing is you miss stuff, like you'll miss birthdays.
Yeah.
You'll miss Christmases, the sacrifices that you make.
Yeah.
But people always say we were overpaid, you know what I'm saying? And I tell them, we don't get paid for what we do. We get paid for what we might have to do.
And what we miss.
That's right. I mean, if you work a regular job, 8 to 5 every day, or 7 to 4, you're home every night, you're home every weekend, you're off every holiday. Fireman ain't like that.
Yeah.
A fireman I know my first year there, I worked Thanksgiving, and I got mandatory on Christmas Day. So I was there Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and the day after. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's a hard pill to swallow. Yeah. When you used to being off at Christmas, all of a sudden.
What kind of guy were you, Kevin? Like, were you one of them guys like, well, it's my job? Or were you one of them guys that went to work and was like, man, I'm hating this right now?
Well, I mean, my first year, I didn't really know how to act. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I was sort of new. I started in May, so that was like 6 months down the road is when all that happened to me. And pretty much I couldn't do nothing but either I could quit my job and come home, but then I wouldn't have a job. So I knew I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
So it was tough, but it works. It has a way of working itself out. You know, you don't always get that. So once in a while, you know, it's spread around. Somebody else is going to do it next time. But
Yeah.
anyway, there's some good people
As long
out
as
there.
you got a good group, like your group was like, well, me and Kevin just did last week. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go in that time. I think that makes it whatever you do. The people that you're doing it with, that's what makes it or breaks it.
Yep.
We do a thing called the Leadership Academy, and something that we found out that people don't quit doing line work because of the money. Some people might, but it don't usually happen. People don't quit doing line work because of the job. People quit doing line work because of other people.
That's right.
You put somebody on a bad crew, or not a bad crew, but a crew that maybe they don't mesh with. Like if you got a crew full of deer hunters and you got this guy that was raised doing whatever other people do, and you put him with that crowd, he's not going to feel.
He's not going to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And he's going to be like a misfit or whatever.
Yeah, and you see people like that just quitting altogether and being like, man, I can't do it. Wherein if they transfer and find a crew that would, be more like them, they would probably end up doing it. But like with my church, I got people that I trust and I like, and like Big Red's one of them. We work together at church and outside of church, and I enjoy working with him. And man, and like doing line work now. See, I'm a chaplain now, so I'm not doing line work. But the other chaplain that's with me, his name is Mr. Joe Franklin. He's one of the best people I've ever worked for, and me and him, we get along good. So if we go out somewhere, I enjoy it, not only because I'm able to help somebody, maybe be able to help somebody, not only because I'm still in the line work field, I'm just not doing line work, but I got somebody that I enjoy doing it with.
Yeah, makes a difference.
Yeah, but they got to say, that's where I was going with that, is in the Leadership Academy, they got a saying that all we can do is try to be better today than we were yesterday, and be better tomorrow than we were today. That's really all you can do, and if you'll follow that right there, you'll end up doing all right.
Yep.
But yes, sir. So we talked about the fire department. I want to ask you something else. What's something like, and you might not be able to answer this. If you can't, that's fine. Like, what's one of the craziest things you pulled up on? Like, I know you can't say names or nothing like that, but like one of the wildest things you pulled up on, like you had to go home and think about it. That's a broad question. I'm pretty sure, being you've been doing it for 40 years.
I've been doing it a long time, and there's been a lot of calls that affect you worse than others. You know what I'm saying? We went on a call one time, and a young girl got killed in a car wreck. And I knew the girl. I knew the girls that were with her. I knew the family real good. And having this stop that girl's daddy from going up to the car.
That's tough.
He didn't even see that like that. You know what I'm saying? It was a bad time. And that's one. And then the other night, a month or so ago, we had a call there on Ben Williams Road. Car wreck, hit a tree, and it burst into flames. But the fellow got thrown out. But I mean, that was just a bad incident. It was bad. But there's just there's so many, and I don't know. Youngins getting hit, small youngins getting hit, by a car, and just so many, man. I don't know.
Well, I talked about it a little bit when we first started talking. When I kind of figured out these guys right here, they're strictly trying to just help people. Was the night that I rolled up and found my buddy. He had gotten in a wreck, and the only person I knew to call, and we just had started getting cell phones. And my grandma Mildred had just passed away. You remember my grandma Mildred?
I do.
My grandma Mildred had just passed away. So we were doing, in this community, which some communities don't do this, but we stay up with the family. We're there all night long, and it was about 12 o'clock, and I was coming home, and I found a wreck right there by the Moose Cat's house. And the only person I knew to call was Eric, because Eric was at my grandma's house when I left. I knew he was there, and I called grandma's house. And I said, "Is Eric still there?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "I have rode up on a wreck." And I said, I didn't know who the guy was at the beginning. I said, "I rode up on a wreck, and there's a guy in the road." And I said, I need somebody to get here, and I don't know what to do. Buddy, it weren't 5 seconds. I mean, to me, it didn't last long. Eric had came through with his van and went straight to the rescue squad. And the next thing I know, the fire department was there. I think Kip was one of the first ones I saw. Kip and Eric and And man, just the unity, the way that they were working together, it was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, in a bad time, because it was a bad time. But you can see pretty things in a bad time. I mean, you can if you look hard enough. And I saw how hard them guys were working. And
sometimes it don't matter how good you do something or how fast you get there or how good you work together. Outcome's still the same.
yeah,
But what you do, try to make it as good as you can. You know, I mean, if that person's deceased, you can't bring them back. You know what I'm saying? But what you do as a department or as a community, trying to help that family or just make it look as good as you can. You know what I'm saying? For them, I don't know. It's tough, especially for somebody that you know. It's just harder, I think.
Yeah, and that changes things. Like I do a lot of traveling. Like you see a lot of wrecks, man, if you pay attention.
No doubt.
And like, just you can see them. Like I'll start heading down 95, and you see a wreck every other 15, 20 miles.
Yeah.
But some are fender benders, some are like what you said, caught on fire.
Yeah.
And, but how can like people help support the volunteer fire department? Like I know y'all do turkey shoots. Man, I love going to those.
We do an annual turkey shoot. We do that every year. You know, every year, and we have usually in the spring we have a barbecue. And we have tried. We had a quarter auction one year, and that did really good. We haven't.
That was just recently, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Did really well.
People were loving them quarter auctions. But I've never been to one.
Well, you know, I'm at the new side, the metal building side, but it was in the summer, and there's no AC on that side, and it was hot. And if we could have had it cooled, we could have had it on that side. We'd have plenty of room. But there were so many people there, it was just too tight. So we talked about taking it to later on in the year. Hopefully it'd be cooler, but this last year it just didn't happen. Hopefully it will soon. We can do it again. But fire department takes donations too. We don't go around and solicit donations, but if somebody wants to drop a check off or see somebody, myself or Kip or Alex Norris, he's our other assistant chief, give them a check, and we're gladly accept it.
Yeah. Like the turkey shoot, y'all make out pretty good during the turkey shoot, don't you? I mean, kind of like
yeah. I think the turkey shoot has turned into more or less just a gathering for people that like to. I mean, we serve food and we do it, but things cost so much now, and it's sort of hard to. I mean, don't get me wrong, we don't lose no money on it, but as far as a fundraiser, it ain't really that much of a good. It ain't. I mean, we make a little bit on it.
Used to it was better. I mean, when turkeys were 49 cents a pound,
Yeah. But I'm going to be honest with you. Now we call it turkey shoot, but people had rather have something else.
Yeah.
This last year we had turkeys, we had ribs, we had bacon.
Yeah.
Sausage.
Well, yeah.
And money. So most people, I mean, everybody wants a turkey. But they don't want a turkey a month for Thanksgiving.
Well, forgive me, all the Thanksgiving worshipers. Like, there's some people that. But I don't eat turkey a lot.
No, nobody.
I mean, I might eat turkey during Thanksgiving, but that would make more sense. Like at a turkey shoot, like if you do good this time, you get a bunch of bacon. Yeah. Man, I would be trying to get that because like a turkey, what am I going to do with a turkey?
Yeah. But there's so many. If you got somebody to donate all that food, that you make a good profit. But you have to go, and most people, everybody's asking for something nowadays. All there's more than us. Than we do. And now I don't have a lot of commercial stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not like Jacksonville, or you can go there to Walmart, or you can go to Food Line, or you can go to Piggly Wiggly, or wherever and try to get something. We just don't have it out here. And time we go somewhere and try to get it, somebody else already been there, they already got it, and there's nothing to get. So, but turkey shoot's a good time. It's a fun time. But like I say, as far as a fundraiser, it probably ain't as profitable as it once was. But we still enjoy doing it though.
I got something here. I figured this would be pretty cool. This is, and I want you to help me with this and let me know if this is right or wrong, because it might be wrong.
All right.
But I was looking up your profession and stuff, trying to see, and a lot of stuff I knew. But like, this is a list of firefighter sayings, And I want to look. What does rattling the pans mean?
Rattling the pan.
Yeah, they say only firefighters will understand this, but some of this stuff is from Detroit. They'll say, well, what about the can man?
I don't know.
You know the stick. That's the ladder.
The ladder, yep.
How about the job? Let's see. Like in my work, like if we say get another bite, you know what that means. You about to start, jacking on the wire a little bit harder. But like I was wondering, like red line, you ain't never heard of that?
A lot of the stuff I ain't heard of, man. It's like
doing it. A truckie.
Truckie, that's like at Camp June, you had truck two. What that was, it's like a bigger ladder. Yeah. They don't do much. If they pulled up on scene, they might not do no firefighting. They might do search and rescue, or they might be doing like a rescue off a building with a ladder, stuff like that.
Yeah,
they wouldn't be doing like firefighting.
A decky. In Detroit, we called a firefighter on the back of an engine a decky.
Well, see, we don't have nobody riding on the back of the truck. Yeah. That's one thing that when I started, people rode on the back of the tailboard. Yeah. They had a bar across the back. They had like a loop, and they put that loop under your arms, and it would be here. Yeah. And you would hold on to that loop, and you would be on the back of the truck. 3 people on the back bumper riding to a fire. But
OSHA has shut that down.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, man, look, Kevin, what happened with like the Dalmatian, man? The Dalmatian used to be the firefighter's
never had
dog.
No Dalmatians at 9 Mile.
But you know what I'm talking about, though? Yep. That used to be the firefighter's dog. Where you don't hear it's basically.
Well, you know what they said about Dalmatians? They're deaf.
Are they?
And that's why they ride on a fire truck because they can't hear the sirens.
Y'all got something there.
Yeah.
I didn't
know. That's what I was always heard.
I think a Dalmatian, like you don't see them a lot. Like that's a pretty dog to me.
It is pretty, but that's why they did it because they couldn't really hear that, and that's the sirens didn't affect them. I mean, you put a dog on a fire truck with a siren blowing like that, what they're gonna be doing?
They're gonna be howling.
Yes.
Yeah. How about a pikeman? This is a term that they use in the inner city firefighters. A pikeman is usually the person on the engine, or to take it a step further, the person taking the pipe into the fire to the extinguish.
When they talk about the hose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of the stuff like stretching.
A lot of that's like on the paid side, probably in some of these bigger cities. You know what I'm saying? They use the slang a lot.
Yeah, I wanted to show you that I was taking this interview very serious. I wanted to do my homework. Like some of this stuff, like tip. I know what that would be. That would be like the end of the nozzle.
Yeah. Well, you got a lot. You got like a smoothbore nozzle, and you got like a string that you can change. You know what I'm saying? But like a tip, you can actually change. They just the nozzle might be that long, but you can screw off a nozzle this far each time. Yeah. And it'll change how many gallons of water you can put out at one time, and all that kind of stuff.
I got you. And this one right here is one I wanted to ask you about, Jake. They said this one is a kind of odd. I have no idea where it actually comes from. I have read 7 definitions, and all of them are different. But what it means here in Detroit is that you are a terrible firefighter.
I never heard that.
They would call, but then he says, you do not want to be called a Jake here in Detroit. Yeah. But on the East Coast, it means you are a good firefighter. Again, in a cool accent. They must be talking junk about our Southern accent or something. But they said, that's a good Jake right there.
Well, Detroit at one time, they had so many abandoned houses. They had so many fires and stuff like that. They would have to let them burn. Yeah. They didn't have enough manpower to go put them out. Several years ago, when Detroit was in a bad decline, people just left everything and moved out or whatever the houses would be like a hole people be living in. It'd be cold in the winter. They start a fire in the house or whatever and burn the house down. Yeah. I mean, and the fire department couldn't go to all of them. They had enough people to go. So
what was that one movie? I'm gonna tell you what. It was good. Backdraft. You remember that movie?
Backdraft was a good movie.
Man, that was a good movie. I remember watching that when I was like 7.
Yeah. Listen, you got to remember it's a movie.
Oh yeah.
So everything that you see in there, that ain't. Yeah. So I've been a lot of fires and never really experienced some of the stuff that they were talking about in there. Now I have seen backdraft happen.
Well, okay, so let's talk about that. What happens? I kind of got my mind on like what.
So say this building right here was on fire and it's pretty much sealed up. So what happens is a fire's got to have oxygen to burn. Yeah. So what happens is it displaces all the oxygen. It uses it all up. So all it's doing is sitting here like puffing. Yeah. So here come you outside to your building, First thing you do, you turn that doorknob and it cracked that door when that air comes in, the oxygen
It
hits.
gives it life.
Boom.
Yeah.
It blow out every window in this building.
Well, with
blow
this
that
thing right
door.
here, like right now, you don't see a flame, but like if I open it, it might smoke a little, but it'll flame right up.
That's right.
But it's putting off heat just like it is right now.
But you could walk up and you may see like smoke coming off under the eaves a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That's a symbol, a signal that hey, that's getting ready to. All it needs is somebody to introduce oxygen to it, and it's going to.
Just like gas.
Yep.
Yeah. And there was a Christian movie about firefighting, which I can't. Fireproof. That was a good movie.
Kirk Cameron, yep.
Yeah, Kirk Cameron did good. Man, at the end, spoiler alert, you ought to have seen that already, but at the end, he busted through that floor.
That's right.
To get out of it.
Yep.
But yeah, that was a good movie. They've got a bunch of good, like I think Backdraft, like getting ready for you to come, I started looking up old movies like Backdraft, and they made it a part 2.
Yeah.
Like there's a Backdraft part 2, but it ain't as good as the first one.
No, well, you know, the main character got killed in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much.
So part 2 is about his brother.
His brother, yeah. I think I've seen it, but like you said, it ain't as good as the first one.
Well, he's like a fire detective.
Yeah.
Like he's going in after the fire and he's trying to see what it caused it and everything. Like we got those around here, don't we? Like,
yeah.
What is the name of? What's the professional name? Arsenic inspector or something like that?
Well, we got, you got like a fire marshal.
Yeah.
In Oslo County, stuff like that. That's what they do.
I got you. So the way to help the fire department is y'all take donations, or if you said something about a 1 year, a 1 year eat and greet that y'all have or something like that.
We have like every spring we have usually have a pig picking every barbecue every spring, and then we do the turkey shoot in the fall. And we have done the quarter auction one time, and we talked about doing it again, but we don't know when that whatever work out the best. But it takes people to help,
Yeah. Well, that's kind of one of the things I wanted out of this interview is like to hear some of the cool stuff about it. That way, if there's anybody young that's kind of wanting to get into it, because we need Kevin. I'm not throwing this down, but we need some of the youngins to like get off of these things and like go find something cool.
Yeah, you can't fight much fire with one of them in your hands.
No, you can't.
And you can't do a lot of other things with one of them in your hands. I mean, there's a time and place for it. I mean, their things are good. If you need to look up something, hey, I need to look up something, you can do it real fast. Ain't like it used to be. You'll find a dictionary and try to find it. Now, this thing on phone, you can just talk into it and it'll tell you what it is. But that's one advantage to it, but a lot of disadvantage too. Yeah,
but like video games and stuff. Now, here's something I heard the other day. They did a survey on like all the doctors and stuff now. A lot of the up and coming doctors, now, the young people that has played video games so much and had their mind on that screen are making great doctors. That's cool. You can look that up. That's cool. But like, I don't know. I think like it snowed, and there's some youngins that ain't even going outside and playing in it. They got their nose buried in the TV. And I just, it's really cool to go out and get involved in stuff like that right there and learn something new, learn a trade.
That's right.
Because like you can work with the volunteer fire department and be a carpenter.
That's right.
You're learning a trade at the same time. I think that's
I started out working for the grocery store.
Yeah.
I worked there.
Which one?
Winn-Dixie. I worked for Winn-Dixie.
That thing's gone.
23 years.
Yeah.
And there were several boys out here from Nine Mile that were already on the fire department at Camp Lejeune. And they tried to get me to go over there and say, man, come on over here. I said, man, I hate to leave where I'm at, And then one thing was the schedule. I was home every night pretty much, unless I worked the night or whatever. But I knew that job, you had to be gone 24 hours at a time. And so whenever when Dixie started closing stores down, I was a manager in Wimbledon and got moved back to Jacksonville. And
you were a manager? Heck yeah, man! I didn't know that. 2
stores in Wimbledon, and so I moved back to Jacksonville, and they were still closing more stores. So I started. Me and Cindy got married 2001 in February that year, and
hold on, you just said it, Cindy, buddy. She came to our church a couple months ago. It was like one of the nights that we were having a sing service, and y'all weren't having church that night.
Yeah.
And cuz she can throw down.
She can sing.
Yes, she can sing. And look, I didn't know that. And play. And you youngin' can sing and play.
My baby girl can sing. Yeah.
My goodness, I was like, where in the world is this being? Like, y'all been cooping that up over there.
Well, Cindy's mama, she sings. Mm-hmm. She sang with a group for a long time.
Do you know what group it was? I know that was off the walkway.
Heaven's Joyful Noise.
Heaven's Joyful Noise. Where would they sing out of?
They were local, man. It was her brother is Warren Bryan.
Okay.
And they go out here on Ben Williams Road and sing sometimes right there, the Williams fella right there. But she can sing, man.
Yeah.
Cindy's sister sings, Lee, and Cindy and Mackenzie.
Yeah, I'm sorry I messed up your story.
No,
but
that's
you
fine.
said Cindy. I was like, man, I got to say something about her singing because she can do it. Does she sing a lot at church?
She does.
Okay.
Well, she used to play the piano there at church too, but she don't do it anymore. But yeah, she can sing. She has a beautiful voice, and Mackenzie does the same way. They're both.
Well, when they first showed up, they were like, "We'd like to sing." I was like, "Do you need a track or something?" Because we got a band at our church, and I was like, "Y'all need a track or something?" She's like, "No, I'm gonna get up there on that piano." I was like, "Okay," and she tore it loose.
She can do it.
Yeah. So you got with Cindy when you were in Winn-Dixie, working at Winn-Dixie.
Well, we got married in February of 2001, and started trying to build a house. And when I started at the fire department in May of that year, I mean, it was scary because I took a big pay cut to go there to start with. And
you took a pay cut from Winn-Dixie to Camp Lejeune?
Yes.
Wow.
Because I was a manager there, and I went to just a firefighter. And I made it by 2 days. You had, the federal fire service, when I started it was 35 and 55. You had to be hired by your 35th birthday, and at 55 you had to leave. You had to have 20 years. You could start earlier than that, but you had to be on by your 35th birthday so you could do 20 years so you could retire. Well, in the process, as I started, whatever, it changed from 37 to 57. So anyway, but I went there on the 7th of, I got the call to start, and I went on the 7th of May, and the fire chief told me to come back the next day. So I started on the 8th. My birthday was the 10th. I'd have been too old. 2 days.
I think that's the
to
Lord
me, that
right
was a sign that the Lord was looking out for my family because, I made a decision, me and her did, that we could do it, and we'd be fine if I did that.
And the elephant in the room is there's no Winn-Dixies around no more.
That's right.
So I mean, you wouldn't have known that then neither.
No, I didn't. But I had a feeling.
Yeah.
And it was things that we prayed over and talked about, and I knew what the money was going to be, and she did too, and we made it work.
Amen.
And like I say, it was a lot of changing. Me not being there every night, that was a big adjustment. Anyway, but I had two teenagers that were home too during that time,
holding the fort down,
helping and stuff, and then Mackenzie came along, so and that was difficult too, because being at work and then her having to do everything for the baby and stuff like that. But
separation like that right there, I think I've learned in line work. Like I'm a contractor, so I would always be gone every week.
Yeah. And
I think when you get home, you really, to me, this is how it works for me. It works for other people different. Like you really appreciate what's at the house.
No doubt.
If you've been gone for a little while and you're getting phone calls from your little man and your daughter and your wife and Jackson did this today and I missed it, and like when you get home, you're home.
That's right.
But some people just can't. They don't like that. Yeah. It ain't for everybody. What you just said at the beginning, it ain't for everybody.
That's right.
But brother, I see you brought your Bible.
I did.
I'd love to let's transition into the Bible stage if that's all right with you.
Sir.
And what kind of Bible you rocking right there, bud?
Let me tell you about this Bible. So for years, I had the same Bible, and as you get older, you might not know it yet, but one day you're gonna be wearing a pair of reading glasses. All right, so my Bible was probably not quite that small. So I told her, I said, I got to have me a Bible with some bigger words.
Giant print.
So this is Amazon.
Yes, sir.
Giant print.
Yeah, I can read that right here from here.
And I still use my reading glasses with it, but this makes it a lot easier for me.
Yeah.
It makes it completely, a lot easier for me. But
well, right now I'm kind of, and everybody don't know this, but like right now I'm on the fence. Do I need reading glasses or not? Because like at one time I could be reading from the pulpit. And look, you see how little this print is?
Yeah.
I could be talking like this right here and look like that, and I can see what I was saying. Yeah. But now it's kind of getting tough. I got to squinch a little bit.
I'll tell you this. Mine changed in 2 weeks because Miss Lee and Foy was our Sunday school teacher years ago. And, I worked. I if I was off this Sunday, I worked the next Sunday. So I was at church one Sunday, and I was reading the Sunday school lesson. And I was reading it fine. Next Sunday I worked. Well, the next Sunday I was back. So she said, Kevin, you want to read? I said, yes, ma'am. And I was reading out the book, the little Sunday school book. And I got looking at that thing, and I couldn't see it. My eyes was blurry. And I ended up this far away where I could see the words on it. And I told Cindy after Sunday school, I said, I need to get my eyes checked. She said, what's wrong? I said, I couldn't even read the Sunday school lesson. I had to hold the book this far away.
I believe that's the stage. I mean, and it happens quick.
It does.
So I might struggle to not read.
Mine was 2 weeks. And went to the eye doctor, and she said, your eyes are good. All you need is a pair of reading glasses. Go to Walmart or anywhere and buy cheapest pair you can find, and you'll be fine. That's what I do. So
yeah. Well, we're going to be in Exodus 3 if the people that is watching has followed us. We're working through the book of Exodus, and we're just trying to grab some things that would really seem, interesting. Which, look, you studied a little bit because I told you about this.
Right.
It's hard to find a part, like especially at the very beginning of Exodus. It's hard to not try to dissect everything in it because there's a lot of things going on. But I wanted to start in verse 6.
Okay.
And it says, moreover, he said, I am the God of thy father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Exodus chapter 3, verse 6. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon God. In verse 7. And the Lord said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people, which are in Egypt, and have heard their cry by the reason of their taskmasters, for I knew their sorrows. And right there, I really want to open it up and talk about it a little bit. There's two things I want to talk about, but that's one of them. Is you got Israel sitting here in Egypt, and they're slaves, and they've been, apparently the Bible just told you that they're crying out to God. They've been crying out to God for a long time.
400 years, I think.
Yeah, 400 years. And if you listen to the historians talk about it, the Bible tells you how many men was in Israel. But if you add on kids and wives and stuff like that, there's about 2.5 million people sitting in Egypt as the Israelites, 2.5 million Israelites sitting in Egypt, and they're all crying, and they're all crying out to God. Yeah. And the Bible just shows you right here, God tells Moses, I've seen their sorrow, I've seen their affliction, and I've heard their cry. Now there would be people sitting in this spot thinking, where's God at? We're enslaved, we're getting treated wrong. Why don't God show up right now?
That's right.
And I think that this is a good verse for us to hold on to, is God sees what we're going through.
That's right.
God hears our cries, he hears us. And I want you to talk about it, Kevin, but here's the thing. There's so many things in motion. Like, I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring.
We none do.
I don't know what kind of problems or dilemmas I'm going to come up to. But he does. He knows exactly how it's going to go. And there's so many swinging parts going on, God's providence. And sometimes we just don't need to get stuck in a rut. Like, if we don't see something changing right now, I prayed to the Lord. Been praying to the Lord for 3 months.
Yep.
And he ain't showed me nothing. Well, that don't mean that he don't love you, and that don't mean he ain't listening.
That's right.
Just means he's got something coming down the pipeline. Might not be now, might not be what you think it needs to be, but he's got a plan. What do you think about that?
Which I'm sure, if we were enslaved for whatever reason, and we may be, we may not be enslaved to the Egyptians, but something else may have you enslaved. Just one person, but you could be enslaved to that task or to whatever. But a lot of people talk to God only when they need something.
Yeah, that's a good word.
That if somebody's sick or something happens, that's when most people, I won't say all people, and I'm guilty of it. Most people are. They want to talk to God when they want God to do something for them. But like you just said, God knows the situation. He knows it before it even happens. He knows what's going to happen. But I try to talk to him every day.
Yeah.
But like you say, see, these people, even though they were enslaved and they were crying out to God, I still feel like they could see some good. They see some good in that. You know what I'm saying? And
we hit on it when you were talking about pulling up on some of these jobs and pulling up on some of these wrecks and stuff like that, and you got to see these family members.
That's right.
And I'm kind of in another. I'm not in that field, but I am in the same kind of, like when you go and there's a shut-in, they're about to pass away, and And some families take it different than other families.
Right.
Like I've heard a lot of people say, "What is God's plan?" And I'm pretty sure you've probably heard some of the same stuff at some of these wrecks. And it's hard at that time to say, God, God hears you. He knows what you're going through. And some people might not be in a situation where they want to hear that at the moment. But
yeah, it's sort of, it would be hard to. Yeah, I understand exactly where you're coming from.
Yeah, and
hard to tell that parent that this is all God's plan, and your child was just killed in a car wreck or something like that.
But it's just like what me and you were talking about. That boy, he was dead, and I'm gonna tell you what, it's tough because that was one of my best friends.
Yeah.
But like I saw the fire department like banding together, and I saw like the backbone of the community going out there to help. So I mean, you can see God.
Oh yeah.
You can see God in a bad situation, and you just don't understand why it's going on at the time.
Yep.
But it's like right here, their lives are about to change.
That's right.
And just in the snap of a finger, the Lord's talking to Moses already. He's gearing him up. He's like, I'm about to use you.
That's right.
And like, who would have thought he'd have picked somebody like Moses?
That's what Moses said.
Yeah, Moses, well, it's here, if I can see it, like in verse 11, he says, who am I?
That's right.
And I think, well, we can move right on to that. Like, who am I? God's told him, I'm going to use you.
That's right.
I'm going to work through you. And now Moses is standing back saying, who am I? Like, I ain't worthy of this. I ain't nothing special. Kevin, we all have that problem sometimes.
That's right.
When we feel the Lord's telling us to do something, be like,
that's right.
I don't know enough, Lord, or Lord, the community, they know who I used to be and stuff like that. Same thing that Moses got going on right now.
That's exactly right.
But the cool thing about it is, when Moses said, who am I? The Lord in verse 12, chapter 3, verse 12, he says, and he said, certainly I will be with thee. I think we really, really should hold on to that, especially Christians. I mean, Christians need to hold on to that if they're in the workforce, or if there's a ministry coming up they feel like the Lord's leading to, or if there's a neighbor down the road that the Lord's leading you to go talk to. Be like, who am I? The Lord's going to be with you. If he sent you, he's going to be with you.
Several years ago at church, we started doing visitations. And we broke up in teams, like that with 3 or 4 people. And we pick, like the church would, like, if they wanted one of their family members to be visited or whatever, they would like write down their names and they would turn them in, and we would pick a name and we'd go to this person's house and we would talk. And I started doing that, me and my wife, and I think it was a couple more people would go, and I didn't mind going. I wanted to go. I felt like I was led to go, but then I was worried about what I was going to say when I got there.
Yeah.
And of course, you can say, I'm here to invite you to church, and some of these people used to go to church. And it's sort of hard to go there and tell that person, well, hey, we miss you.
Yeah.
I want you to come back to church and this and that. And then, but based on what their answer is what you got to come up with. You know what I'm saying? What you got to say back. But the Lord, He worked it out.
It's all in the Lord's hand at this point.
The Lord says, go
in
my name, and I'll give you the words to say, paraphrasing, but that's what He did.
Yeah.
I mean, I was thinking, and I thought all the time, I get back in the car and I was like, why did I say that?
Yeah.
But it made sense.
Yeah.
And it weren't me. It was words I think the Lord had led me to say, you know what I'm saying?
There was one time where I was asked to do a funeral for one of my buddies, and it was packed. And I've never done a funeral this big before. And like, I remember we were at the funeral home in Jacksonville, and this place was full. Like, it takes a lot to fill that building up. And I walked from around the corner, and I looked out there, and I saw how many people it was. And I usually don't get like stage fright or nothing, but like, I came back around that corner, and I was like, Lord, have mercy, Lord. There's a lot of people here, and like, this was my friend, and I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to get 1 or 2 words out. And I just felt a calm. You just getting up there. The Lord's going to use you. I've studied. I've thought about things that I could say, but when I got up there, like, half the stuff I wanted to say, I didn't say.
Yep.
And like, most of the stuff I said was nothing planned. And like, when it was over, like, there was a couple people came to know the Lord, and the Lord ain't going to send you to do something and not to be there right there with you.
That's right.
I think that's a really good thing that we can look at.
Yep.
And verse 13, it says, and Moses said unto God, behold, when I come unto the children of Israel, and shall say unto them, the God of your fathers hath sent me unto you, And they shall say to me, this is Moses kind of talking to the Lord, like the Lord don't know what's about to happen.
Yeah.
They're going to say to me, what is his name? What shall I say unto them? I think this is, so God is not God's name. That is his title. Like you're a chief.
Right.
I might call you chief next time I see you, or somebody at the fire department might call you chief. But when you go home to the people that love you, they don't call you chief.
No, they don't.
They don't. So God, that's a title. God, Elohim is a title. He said, I want to know what your name is. And in verse 14, he's like, well, in verse 13, he's saying, what name shall I say to him? Verse 14, and God said unto Moses, I am that I am. And he said, thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I am hath sent me unto you. So I am, what do you think about that right there? The I am statement that God gives Moses, because like to me, and doing a little bit of studying and trying to research stuff that people says, that's God telling. God still ain't told him his name. God's about to hit him with the Yahweh statement, which is Lord, capital L, capital O, capital R, capital D. That means Yahweh. He's about to give him that. But when he says I am, he's telling him, you go to Egypt and tell them the one, not these bogus false gods that they're, because in Egypt, they'd be worshiping the Nile River, they'd be worshiping frogs, and they'd set all this stuff up on God. But God is telling them, you go tell them the one and the only has sent you.
That's right.
And I think that's cool. I think the Greek word for that is ego I me, because Jesus uses that in John when they say, where is this Jesus of Nazareth? And he says, I am he. And he's quoting from this right here, showing you the Trinity of God. But what do you think about the I am statement?
Well, I feel like that God told Moses to say that because God was going to make the people there, when Moses said it, they were going to pretty much know what Moses meant by saying that. I mean, God was going to prepare those people for what they were getting ready to hear. Even though he sent you or sent Moses, he also could prepare those people to know when Moses said, he said, I am. And that would be enough for them.
Yeah. So to me, I look at like, and I wrote a couple of things down. When he's saying I am, he's saying, I don't have a beginning.
Don't have an end.
And I don't have an end, because like in verse 15, it says my name forever. So he's pretty much saying, I don't have a beginning. I don't have an end. Anything that is not God, is not Yahweh, is secondary. He is the one.
That's right.
The one has sent you. And this is supposed to, like, it raises my hair up sometimes when I see how God talks to people. Especially like this is a burning bush.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and like, I've never seen a burning bush.
They don't burn.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That ain't been consumed. I've never seen that. Yeah. But I do know how it feels like when I know that the Lord is showing me his will. And like, I get fired up like this. I'm like, well, if this is the Lord, it's going to work.
That's right.
I think that's a good way we can tell things, Kevin. Just like you said about Winn-Dixie. Well, Winn-Dixie's gone now.
Yep.
So the Lord was kind of leading you to do something else.
That's right. And everybody didn't take that step. Yeah. Some people stayed to the end and didn't have a job. Yeah. And I don't know if they didn't have faith in what they were doing, or they weren't able to do it, or what, but don't matter. It worked out the way it did because that was God's plan.
I can guarantee you, like, sometimes in your profession that you found yourself praying to the Lord.
Oh yeah, all the time.
In situations where you don't want no secondary nothing. You don't want no guy can help you with this. Only the Creator can help.
Yep.
And pray into that. He says, tell him that the I am has sent me unto you. And God, verse 15, and God said moreover unto Moses, thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, the Lord. All right, so that's capital L, capital O, capital R, capital D. Yep. And most of the new translations would already put Yahweh in that, but like I read the King James Version.
Yeah, me too.
But it's pretty much saying this is his name, Yahweh. And look, here's something cool right here. Have you ever said that, like, hallelujah? That's actually talking about Yahweh. That's talking about the Lord, because it's saying praise Yah. Praise the Lord. When we say hallelujah. Yeah. And he's saying this is my personal name. This is what, and I don't know, it excites me to know that the Creator of everything has just let us know his name, and that he's a real God, and that he's a loving God, and that he wants a personal relationship with us. He's wanting a personal relationship with Moses right now. We don't really know what Moses' spiritual life was like before this.
That's right.
I don't know how much he studied Hebrew. I don't know. We know he was raised an Egyptian. So he's probably got his mind on like the frog god and the river. But now he's seeing this, and this is real.
That's right.
And I don't know, it reminds me of when I came to know the Lord and I felt it was real. I was always looking for something real. Like everything that's secondary, like line work. Something bad can happen tomorrow and I can't do line work no more.
Right.
Or deer hunting. Something might happen and I can't deer hunt no more. These are secondary things, but it felt so good when I came to know the true God. Am I making any sense?
You are. Right on the money.
And this is his personal name. And he says, the Lord God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, hath sent me unto you. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial unto all generations. And you will know something really cool that I think it continued to go. Because we got these books open thousands of years later.
That's right.
And we're still reading about it.
That's right.
No matter if society wants you to forget it,
Yep.
which I'm not going to dog all of our society. I think we got some good things going on, but we got some terribly wicked things going on as well. I think there's a lot of people that would like for us to forget this passage right here, to forget that we have a God that will come and be with us.
That's right. If you just let him.
Yeah.
Yep.
What do you think?
If you just let him, you know what I'm saying? You can give as much to God as you want to.
Yeah.
And you can give as little as you want to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's really up to the individual whether you can make time for God. God's there.
Mm-hmm.
You just gotta have faith, and you gotta want him in your heart, and you gotta talk to him. And
well, that's just like me and you are in this room right now. If we had a third person here, and me and you were talking, just like we ain't stopped talking the whole time. If that person went and opened that door and just started walking off, they can still hear us, but it started getting quieter and quieter, right. And eventually they get on the other side of my house, they won't hear nothing we're saying.
That's right.
I think that's the relationship with God. The more that we try to come into him, the more we're going to hear him.
That's right.
And the closer we get with him, the louder he gets. And I've learned that through just picking my Bible up and reading it, man. If I have a bad situation going on, I pick this Bible up, man, I start feeling a whole lot better.
Yeah.
And like prayer.
Yep.
Kevin, how good does it feel when you get to do some good prayer?
Oh yeah.
You know, not at church where you just like, I think some people want to do poetry sometimes. They'll get up there and they'll pray these beautiful prayers. But like, I'm talking about like when you're struggling and you go home and you're getting your better and by yourself. And Lord, I need to hear from you right now. How good, that feels good.
Yep. And you're right, man. That's like I say, prayer, that's just talking to God. Pretty much, and people are different. Like you say, people can pray an eloquent prayer, that sounds like they rehearsed it and they wrote it down. And I don't think God really wants to hear that. God wants to hear what's in your heart. I really do. You know what I'm saying?
I'm a slubbering mess sometimes.
We're put here to praise him.
Yeah.
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But us being that way, things happen to us in our lives that, it can bring us down. You can have all the faith in the world and still be in a bad way.
Look at these people in Israel right now.
You know what I'm saying? You can have all the faith in the world and still be in a bad way. Hey, and what happens to them when they get out? When they get gone? First little thing that happens that don't go their way, what do they say?
They're whining and crying.
Whining and crying.
Yeah.
We should have stayed there. At least we wouldn't have been killed. Yeah. Now we're getting ready to get killed. The Red Sea. Where are we gonna go? I
believe the King James version shows that at one point they're like, we were eating olives in Egypt.
That's right.
And look, I don't want to get too far ahead on this story, but like in the next couple chapters, we're going to see the Lord starts raining down manna from heaven.
That's right.
And like they even start whining about that. And I say whining, but we do the same mess.
That's exactly right.
We do the same mess.
Yep. Well, things can go your way, be going your way, and everything's going right, and then something goes wrong, and it just seems like it might snowball a little bit, and we do the same thing these people were doing.
Oh yeah,
or will do.
Yeah. So I want to do one more thing right here because I think this gets passed up because I've passed by it before. So this is God showing Moses who he truly is. He's telling him his title. He's telling him there's none before him, none after him. He's given him his personal name. And then in verse 16, look what the Lord's instructions are.
Yep.
Go and gather the elders of Israel together. I think once we come to know who the Lord is, personally, not know 1, 2, 3, repeat after me. Because sometimes that right there,
Yeah.
you know, but when you personally get a relationship with the Lord, you're going to want to go tell somebody. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it ain't, you don't have to be like preaching to them while you're fighting a fire. But like, you can be showing them and they're like, why are you smiling for? Man, the Lord loves me.
Right.
You know, we just got done working 80 hours. Why are you smiling? Man, the Lord loves me. And like, I feel like you're the only Bible some people are ever going to read.
Only Jesus some people are ever going to see.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's true. I mean, I worked in a place for over 20 years, and some people there, man, and it's different working in a place like that because some people come from different parts of the country, and it's amazing how much different it is in other parts of the country.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we're the Bible Belt down south, and you know, but there's a lot of people may come from up north and places like that, man. They tell you, I ain't never read the Bible.
Yeah.
I ain't never been to church.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, there's a lot of people in the Bible Belt that has they grew up in church. Their granddaddy might have been a preacher. That was
right.
my deal.
Yeah.
And like if somebody got to asking them about the Bible, this is how I was. You know, I've been in church my whole life. They start asking me about the Bible. I'll be like, I don't really know a lot about it. I just know, you know,
That's right.
I go to church on Sunday. You know, so we see that everywhere. I'm gonna tell you something else. California's burning right now. Yeah. And there's a lot of people saying a lot of stuff about, oh, they're wicked and this, that, and other. There's some good churches in California. I've been following a couple on, you know, YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
There's some good people in California.
There is.
You know, anywhere you go, you're going to find, I tell you what, I got to go to Florida next week. So I'm here and there and everywhere now, but I only go in like short bursts. Everywhere I went, there's been somebody that believes in Jesus Christ, that believes in him like, you know, like the Bible says. Right. Everywhere I've been to Denver, I've been to Phoenix, Arizona, Georgia, Alabama. I've never went nowhere where there weren't somebody that believed in Jesus Christ and loved him. Right. So I believe the mission was accomplished, what he's saying, forever. And he said, go tell the elders. So I think, Kevin, I believe that's our job, is to go tell people.
That's right.
And it might be soft and subtle, or it might come to a time where you're on a job site and people's cornered you up and you got to preach. But I feel like that's the message, I think. What do you think?
I do too. I feel like sometimes, and I always said this, without even saying a word, you can witness to people without saying a word. Mm-hmm. By the way that you carry yourself, by the way you live your life. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, this is probably a good example, but just like, you know, at the fire department working, they might be watching a movie or something, and you walk in there and something's going on in that movie or something's being said that you don't agree with. As a Christian, you can't either. You can stay there and watch it and be one of those people, or one of those guys, and you can get up and say, guys, we shouldn't be watching this. And you can. To me, that's a statement you're making right there. Yeah, that he's different for whatever reason. Yeah. And some people might come here and say, hey, why are you different than everybody else? Why would you want to watch that? Why wouldn't you? You know what I'm saying? And to me, that's an opportunity.
Well, that's a seed you plant.
That's right. That's an opportunity for you to say something, you know, for Jesus Christ. And I know years ago we went to New Jersey after Hurricane Sandy. Our church did, Bethany, and we were up there just to help fix up stuff. And people was like, "How much y'all getting paid to do this?" And we're like, "We ain't getting paid nothing." Well, then why would you do it? Yeah. Why would you come all the way up here? Yeah. Where y'all from? North Carolina. Why would you drive all from North Carolina to New Jersey and sleep on a gym floor, freezing to death, and work out here in the 20-degree weather and try to fix this and that for nothing? I say it ain't for nothing.
Yeah, that's right.
It's to show people the love of Jesus
Christ. Bro. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And that's what we did. Yeah. And some of them understood that. And some didn't.
Some walked off scratching their head.
Didn't have a clue. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, I think that right there proves God. I mean, I don't think God needs to be proved. I believe He's strong enough without being proved. Yeah. But I believe that's like an echo of a good Lord. You don't see people doing stuff like that just because they want to.
That's right.
You know what I mean? You might have 1 out of 50 that wants to get involved and do stuff like that on their own, but like seeing them in droves, like the whole Western North Carolina right now, which they're all that, like, until yesterday, they were still sleeping in their vehicles and stuff, which I think there still is some sleeping in tents.
There is.
But I've heard that there's been a lot of help today, where a lot of them's got apartments now.
Yeah.
Which that's just hearsay right now. But I heard Mr. Vance went out there and kind of got a lot of stuff going.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
Well, me and Cindy, we got a camper up there in Marion, and our campground made out really good as far as, the damage. We had a little bit of damage, but the campground right below us, there's a creek that runs this way, Their campground was triple C. I think there was 85 campers in there, totally, completely destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them like had never been any campers there. I'm talking about that's how bad it was.
Mm.
And it looks the same today as it did 4 months ago.
Mm.
Some things haven't been touched, you know what I'm saying? But that wasn't them people. Some of the people actually lived there.
Yeah.
And some people, that was just their vacation home. So, but there's places like Swananona, we've been there.
Yeah.
And they've still got tents up, people living in tents with little heaters in there, stuff like that. And it's just, but even through all that bad though, you can see some good.
Yes.
People were there like the next day trying to help in the name of the Lord.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just, and these people were, I mean, even though they lost everything, they were still receptive to listening to the word and not blaming the Lord for situations that they're in.
Yeah.
A lot of people. And there was probably some that, people lost family members and stuff like that. And I truly believe, I mean, they're saying 104 people died in that storm. Listen, I know people up there saying that it's thousands of people.
Thousands.
That's missing.
Yeah.
And where they at? We know where they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
well, there's actually like when I went over there a week after it happened, and like there's places where a house would be like on a hill, and that hill's gone.
Yep.
The house is gone, but like the property that it was on is gone as well.
That's right.
It's like that's a bad situation.
There's no property lines anymore.
Yeah. But
I mean, the place in California, the fire burned everything on top of the ground. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But you can go back there and say, this is where my house used to be.
Yeah.
Now, these people in North Carolina, some of them, you can go where the vicinity, but you can't, there's no way to know where your house was at.
Yeah. I mean, that's a situation right there I don't know how they're going to handle, and I don't know how they're going to take care of it. But I just hope and pray that they try to take care of it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, if you know there's a guy that's lost everything, I mean, not just home and shed and what else, but even his property's gone. It's floated down the river with everything else. I would hope that there's something that they're going to do for people like that. Like, help them like a Kickstarter or something.
Hopefully. I think our president, he's going to make it. He's going to do what's right. I think he really is. I think he's there for the right reason. Lord, I think the Lord put him there. Lord spared his life.
Yeah.
And he put him there for a reason. That's to help Americans. I really believe that. But I really believe that we got to do our part as Americans. We got to turn back towards God. All of us, even Christians, got to pray every day.
Yeah. Well, for some Christians, and I hate to say this, for some Christians, like that's a foreign word now. They've had certain situations happen, and just like what me and you were talking, they were in here, then they walked off.
Yeah.
And like I'm praying for them to come back to the fold.
That's right.
Because I think there's a lot of Christians that's on the sideline right now, and like we don't need to, not in 2025, brother. We don't need to be on the sideline.
And listen, everybody's got problems they deal with every day, and it ain't the same for everybody. But I can tell you this: I know my wife. She prays for me every day, and I'm glad.
Come on with that.
I'm glad she does, because
I watch prayers.
If she don't, you know what I'm saying?
I'm listening to you.
It just helps.
Yeah,
it helps me. I know it does. I know she prays for me every day, and I know my daughter prays for me every day too. And I guess all my children probably do, and I pray for them every day. And I pray for this country, and I pray for our community, and I pray for our churches, and I just pray, I pray every day for as many people as I can.
Well, I think we're pretty much done with what I wanted to do. I wanted to really look at that just as soon as the Lord shows Moses who He is. And I like verse 16, how it transitions. Now go and talk about it.
That's right.
Go and tell them. And with him going and telling them, you don't know, there might be an elder there. There's got to be elders there.
That's right.
That has been holding on for dear life. And like, I ain't heard nothing in a while, but I still believe in Yahweh, you know. And then here comes Moses, and that's just all they needed.
Yeah.
And you don't know if we're that person for like people that's struggling.
That's right.
You know, they might just be saying, Lord, show me something today. I want to see something today. And then lo and behold, here comes a Larry, you know, or a Kevin, or a Shay, or a Kurt. Lord's put it on their heart to go.
Yeah.
And you pop up there when they ask him for prayer. The Lord does, he works like that. I know that for a fact.
He does.
But
even though you might not think you're there for a certain reason, he puts you there in a place, you know what I'm saying, and you could be the one.
Yep.
You could be the one that makes all the difference in the world to that person that day.
But I can guarantee you one thing, if you don't answer, you're not going to be the one.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Yep. Well, brother, what do you have anything else? You know, I think we're good with this chapter unless you see something else that I might have missed. And this was good.
I read this a couple times. Yeah. And I do my Bible reading every day. We have a little thing at church, and Pastor gave us everybody one who wanted a daily Bible reading. You know what I'm saying? And me and Cindy try to read it together. It don't always work out like that, but each day we try to read our verses and study. And I weren't quite to Exodus yet, but I read when I talked the other day. I started reading it, and I read 3, and then I read a little more, and I read a little more. And, you know, but I think a lot of people like this. Exodus, the book of Exodus, like they watch the movie, you know, and
the old one, the black and white one. Yeah,
and they see all of that, you know what I'm saying, and but to me, reading it,
man, have you seen? And if you ain't, that's fine. Have you seen that new show that they've made, The Chosen?
Yes.
Does it not bring the Bible to life?
It does.
And like they don't stay with the scripture, but like as far as situations and timeline and time frame and stuff like that. But the things that they do good, man, they do good. Like I've really started enjoying The Chosen.
We watched it. We watched some of it at church, and I didn't watch all of it each time. I missed some or whatever. But like on a Wednesday night, he would show it on Wednesday night sometimes. Matter of fact, I think the second season or whatever one that just came out, he just showed all those.
Yeah. Well, they I think now I might be wrong, but I think they got like 5 seasons now. Which I think he said he's going to wrap up the Jesus. He's going to be crucified in this season. And then he's going to move right on into Acts, which is exciting to me, man. Yeah. I like that. I don't, but he also said in an interview, his name's Dallas Jenkins. He said in an interview that he would love to do the Moses story.
Oh, yeah.
And so the only Moses movie that I've ever seen was the black and white one that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And we'd see it every year at Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, that's what's ingrained in my mind. But I really think like,
what, 10 Commandments, right? And that's the one you're talking
that's
about?
the one I'm talking about.
Well, they got it in color too.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, it's in color.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep.
But I think that the Bible comes to life if you just get into it and start reading it and seeing
it does.
That the problems that they were having then, we still have today.
Same problems.
Yeah. The same pretty women then is the same pretty women now. You know.
That's right.
The same alcohol then is the same alcohol now. Yeah. Nothing's really changed.
Nope. There's just more. I think there might be a few more things to get into now, but ultimately it's the same choices.
Yeah.
You got the same choice then as you do back then as you do now.
Yeah.
You got a choice to partake of it or turn your head and walk away and and do that, man. But I really enjoyed our talk.
Man, I love it. Do you got anything else you'd like to share?
Not really.
All right.
Nope.
Do you mind praying for us?
Yes,
I really do appreciate it. I appreciate you being here. Let's go to the Lord in prayer.
All right. Father, Lord, we thank you for this day, dear God, Lord, and for all the blessings in this life. And Father, we just pray, Lord, that you continue to bless our families, Lord. Watch over us, dear God, and keep us safe, Father. And Father, I just thank you for this opportunity to come and spend time with my brother here, dear God. And Father, just study a part of your word, dear God. And Father, I just pray, Lord, that you go with us as we leave, Father. Protect us, watch over us, keep us safe, Lord, until the next time we meet. And I ask all these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.